playlist, to be fair, because to be fair, I stick on music. If you want to know what type of music I listen to, if I'm in the gym, it's often Rammstein. I do a lot of Metallica, Nirvana. And then I'll throw in a curveball, also Depeche Mode. And a mix of like 80s stuff, because it's all about my sort of growing up when music was more interesting, less mechanical and boring, because you never knew what you were getting back in those days, especially when the vinyl took off and was cheap to print, which will get back to the days of the Sex Pistols then, which is a little bit before my time, but still enjoy their music. Even the Smiths sometimes, even though I do find, the Smiths is alright. I was just thinking about Morrissey actually. He's a bit of a person, but I think his view on life at the moment is quite good. Where this whole diversity stuff, as he sees it, is just normality. Because they made everything diverse, which means everything then becomes normal because everything's part of the same thing. I thought, that's a smart move actually. That's a bit of intelligence in there. I'm not knocking him on that front, to be fair. I don't know if he's a intelligent guy or not. I just find he's very socialist normally, but I will give him credit for that one, because diversity becomes normality. A lot of water moving around, isn't there? So that's flowing down as well. Obviously it doesn't flow upwards. There's no special screws or whatever, Archimedes screw, isn't it? Or something, water mills or something, moving it to the top and bringing it down. I don't think we've got any of that going on. Wow. This is the pond I'm normally walking around. I'm just thinking, is it the same one? Because it actually looked quite beautiful from here. Why is that? Well, because normally around the edges it's full of Canadian geese crap, because they crap all over the side. So it's a bit of a minefield. But yeah, it's beautiful. It's nice to be out and about today. There, you can hear them. Noisiest birds I've ever heard. They were fighting the other day. What gets me is two of them are fighting and every single bird is making the bloody noise.
Yeah, but he's all geared. Put it that way. Can't pedal anymore.
It's glorious today, glorious. So what's my big changes for this year? I might as well throw this in at the end if anybody's still watching. For me, I want to knock another £5,000 off my mortgage. The drone piece. Do the MBA. Work out what my career strategy move is, because there's a few things going on, moving parts. For example, I'm speaking at Excel on the 4th of June at the Innovation Show in Construction Week, which should be interesting because I think there's about 6,000 or 7,000 attendees. Not that they're all going to listen to me, but it was nice to be asked to go and speak at a show. And I've got another exhibition type setup that's also engaged. So I do see some positive stuff coming up. I'm trying to position myself more as an authority on things as well, which means I have to read a lot more than I was doing before. Because most of the time I work on what's needed for work, but I've started knocking that on the head at 8 o'clock. Oh, sorry, the 8 hours of work, not 8 o'clock at night. And starting to focus on myself, which is probably one of my best things I can recommend any of you guys. If you're working hard in your 8 hours, that's all you need to do. To hell with the business, to hell what they want. Because if you're working harder and not getting paid the right amount, you're probably not going to get paid anymore because you're becoming somebody they rely on. That's an interesting thing, isn't it? It's got some spikes on it. So I wonder if that's how they're all fixed into the ground. Yeah, so the point being is, with work, a company should be looking at how they can best use you, which also increases your value for the business, which for me is investing in your training, giving you more opportunities, helping you develop. And if the company's not doing that, yet expecting you to do 10 hours a day or whatever, they're just using you. You're probably doing half of your boss's work as well as yours. And in business, unfortunately, especially in the UK, a lot of people fail upwards. They're not people doing the work, they're people that are busy kissing the butt cheeks of their current line manager and above them, being subservient in the hope that they get carried up with the people above them to the next post, or when they move on to another company, they take them with them. That's the corporate world, guys. I don't like it. It's why I'm sort of at a glass ceiling at the minute unless I go and work for myself. Hence, I'm sort of looking at becoming more of an authority on stuff, and then I'll branch out at that point. What gets me is the pushback on anything I say is very little. It'd be nice for somebody to actually argue with me. But I remember a director said it poetically, I would say, poetically. He says, Matt is always normally annoyingly right. Because when I told them that this wouldn't work, because if I'm saying it, there's a reason behind it. So if you don't get the because, I probably won't mention anything. And if I don't get to the because, it's normally that the person that I'm talking to doesn't want to hear the because they know there's a problem, but they're trying to pretend there isn't one. Either way, it can often be a negative aspect in business in a direct way, but an indirect way, it also means that the people that you are talking to recognise, you know, what the hell you're talking about. They just don't want to acknowledge it because they have to acknowledge there's a problem, which sometimes is a good thing, sometimes is a bad thing. You might be lucky enough for somebody to take it off the record, but most of the time they won't. They'll just acknowledge you spoke to them, and that's about it. And they probably won't acknowledge that in writing. So you will experience that in the corporate world, but like I said, being a yes man doesn't suit me. It never has been. I'm an engineer by design, so we're problem solvers. We're not people that just put up with the status quo just because people want to stay in their jobs. Sort of like my moral compass is a bit skewed on trying to do the best possible. It's funny enough, I did a personality test as part of my leadership piece, and it does recognise that one of my flaws is perfection. It's always striving for perfection. It's actually saying tone it down a bit, which I agree with, because a lot of time you can't get there. But at the same time, I do recognise we should still try and do the best that we can with what we've got. So it may not be perfection in that essence. May not be that. I've lost the chain of thought there. May not be perfection in that You can fill the gaps in. Environment, situation. I'll put situation, although it seems a bit dumbed down. May not be the best for that. Maybe the only opportunity in that situation, because perfection may not be financially viable, etc., etc. Blah blah blah. Send email. No, but you just try to do the best you can. But like I said, that was one of the things it recognised, the same as it pulled out that I've got a lot of knowledge, but I often don't push it forward, which is also true. Because I'm often in environments where I'm sitting with a lot of people that A, will just say yes to whoever's more senior than them in the room, and B, have no technical knowledge. So trying to explain something, it's not frowned upon, they just don't understand it. So I'm taking that on board as well. See, even me, I admit I've got problems. I'll try to do things the best I can. And my wife puts it in good words, because her version of that is, Matt, don't assume everybody knows it the way you do. Which is true, because I was thinking of this the other day about something where a couple of people I know have got careers and stuff, which I find is stupidly easy, but they're getting paid well for doing stuff that I wouldn't even think was a job. Why? Because the majority of people don't know how to do it, because they can't be bothered to learn. It's not that it's complicated, it's just they can't be bothered to learn it. And then we keep talking about productivity in the UK. The amount of meetings I go to where people can't even use basic Excel. And I know some of you guys said, well, you should have moved on from Excel. Yeah, you're right. But the problem is, a lot of the systems we're working on are still legacy systems. Also, when you're working with data, Excel still remains one of the best things to work with, because you can manipulate it and get it in the format you need. Then I sit with people that spout how great they are, and we get into real data, and then suddenly go, well, I never said I was an expert. No, I didn't either. But you did. Yeah, it's... Because I look at Excel, and I don't see myself as an expert in it. I mean, far from it. But I realise the most people I know don't understand it to the level I do. Probably about 25. Why is it with screaming kids today? I've got to admit, if I was screaming as a kid when my dad was around, I'd have got slapped around the head. Moving on. We'll head back up to the house now, I think. I'll keep it away from the geese because they're going to make a racket when I go down there. Look at them. Look at them facing off against the ducks. Look at them giving him some. The ducks are just sitting there ignoring them. Don't know what it is with the geese. They just seem generally aggressive. Even more aggressive than the swans, which I'd have thought. I mean, I've seen swans before, and they can normally be a bit of a vindictive, territorial beast. But like they're not really bothered. Look, swan going in amongst them, just chilling out. He's looking at the ducks, but I don't think he's doing anything to the ducks. Oh, it's getting a bit close. You know, I'll probably be saying this, and then you can't see anything I'm seeing. So like this today is like I've come down here before I go to the gym because it's exercise. I've got a few steps in. Lowers my heart rate and everything because you're sort of relaxed and chilled out. And then I'll go to the gym and have a beast in for the afternoon. So be back to the house in a minute, cup of tea, and prepare to get a sweat on. Yeah, oh, the Excel thing, by the way, I got sidetracked there. The Excel thing's sort of relevant on the Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week stuff about being an expert is fundamentally knowing more than everybody else in the room, which is correct, unfortunately, in too many instances. But I think it also highlights an important point that everybody has some valuable information, whether they recognise it or not. Because you'll get people that believe they're more important than others, and they'll project that persona because that's often all they've got to rely on. So once you start digging deep and showing that it's not true, they get all funny because you've just unravelled their position. And I've got to admit, this is one of the reasons people don't like me work-wise sometimes. It's because they'll give their old expert speech without really knowing who you are. And then, being an engineering type, I start asking questions about stuff that they're stating they're experts on. And it unravels quite quickly. Because you probably noticed on the channel, I don't say I'm an expert in anything. Why? Because I'm not stupid enough to hang my own neck out. It's quite funny with the company I work with, they do a lot of our project work. And there's the gas guys, there's a guy called Dave. And he's also a tutor for teaching people gas. You know, in the sense of training the next generation of engineers. So anytime they see something that's complicated or installed incorrectly, he'll always get a piece of paper and draw it and come to me and go, Matt, can you tell me what's wrong with this? Because he's wanting to see if he's going to catch me out on something, and so far he hasn't. Because it's a bit like a conversation I was having this morning about the Amazon training courses, the 2-year engineering course. The courses are worthless beyond it teaching you the absolute basics. It's the experience and knowledge that comes from working in the field. You know, if you're doing gas training, for example, it's probably not going to teach you about big gas boilers that exist in medical facilities that are big enough for you to walk inside. A lot of this stuff is near enough bespoke because they're massive, massive things, and they have these like big rods in them and stuff. I'm not a gas engineer, same as I'm not a boiler engineer, because I also deal with steam. But I know how to read a manual. This is what I say, a lot of the stuff, if you do a course, it gives you the basics. This is why it's always important to listen. If you're working with a guy that's been doing it for 20 or 40 years, you've got a golden nugget there. His knowledge and experience, doesn't matter how crap he is as an engineer, he'll know a lot of stuff that you don't know. So listen, learn, absorb, because those skills are retiring or dying off. And what we're getting left with is pretty mediocre, to be fair. All right, guys, I'm gonna head home, swap the jeans for the shorts, and prep for the gym. So that's my type of cycling, that. Just lay out, job done. Told the wife, gotta go for a cycle ride for a couple of hours. Gone across the field and just lay down. Alright guys, thanks for watching, really appreciate it. Please comment, please like, subscribe, and also anything you want me to discuss, drop it in the Discord or drop it in the comments. Thank you.